Push the button. Oh my God, everybody, push the button. You got to push the button because you know what time it is. It's 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock 05, actually. If you really, really, really want to know what time it is. It's 2 o'clock 05. Pacific Standard Time, PM. June 24th. The year is 2024. The 24th on 2024. Is that weird? No, not really. But it's happening. Which just so happens to be the very first Monday of summer. Okay? In the northern hemisphere? Northern hemisphere. There we go. Northern hemisphere. It is the first official Monday of summer. How are you feeling on the official first Monday of summer? I likely will never know because nobody's typing anything into the chat. So there's that. At 8:41 a.m., Frank Dominguez, straight from my attic, was first to the chat. At 8:41 a.m., followed by 11:31 a.m. Witchy Cat said woohoo, and at 1:54, Zipgun himself said hello. So we don't know. We may never know how anybody's doing because people aren't typing into the chat. Oh my God, Aaron Kunkel says happy summer, dude. Well, happy summer to you. Happy summer to you. It is It's begun in a weird way. It's begun in a weird way because Friday was the first day of summer. And I took my own human body, Vicky Toria's human body, and my daughter's human body to the Seattle Tacoma International Airport Extravaganza Inc. Incorporated. Right? And we flew on a jet airplane to Sacramento, California. And if you're not familiar with Sacramento, California is the capital of California. I think. Right? Of Cali. I believe it's still Sacramento, right? Okay, they haven't changed it. Good. I wanted to double check and make sure that they hadn't changed it since Sunday, which is yesterday. It's the capital of California. It is in the High Plains Desert. and it's a heater, baby. So we left beautiful, beautiful Western Washington, 75 degrees and sun shining, to land in Sacramento where it was 103 degrees Fahrenheit, which I'm not sure what that is in Celsius. I believe it's 42. We have to look it up. Boys, girls, ladies, and gentlemen, we got to look that up too. 103 Fahrenheit to Celsius. Well, it's 39.4444444. So I guess it wasn't 42. .104 is 40. 105 is 40.555. 106 is 41. Okay, so it was close. I mean, I was in the ballpark. Did I say 42? .108 is 42.2 repeating. Anyhow. So those of you on the International Celsius Registry, whatever, scale, you guys will understand. It was a heater, okay? And it was that hot the whole entire weekend. And it was that hot for the entirety of the, what is called FinDig, which is the Sacramento Aquarium Society convention, I guess, like annual convention, fish convention, aquarium, aquarists, aquarists, what do you call them? You know, fish keepers, aquarium keepers. Those who have aquariums and they keep them like this back here. This is an aquarium. It's a see-through box. It's a cube, essentially, made of clear material. And it filled it with water and fish live in there, right? Yeah. You get what I'm saying. Anyhow, the annual convention, which had speakers, guest speakers, they had sales booths, they had events, they had an auction. They had 2 auctions, actually, believe it or not. One charity auction and one regular auction. And an impromptu dinner. And what else? A swimming pool. Because the hotel had a swimming pool. Although, I will say, little irritated at the hotel because the hot tub was not open. I don't know what was wrong with the hot tub. I didn't ask them what was up with the hot tub. But there was caution tape all around it, and a sign said, "Don't go in this water." I took them at face value. That I was gonna not go in that water, so I didn't. You know, I was like, I trust somebody is like, dude, you don't want it. So I didn't have it. I didn't go in there. So, but kind of a bummer. I look forward to hot tubbing. When I get to stay at a hotel. A hot tub or a sauna, one or the other. I look forward to those things. Why? Yeah, just because. I don't know. I like going and sitting, chilling in the hot tub and getting a heat up. But the swimming pool was open, and Olivia was a big fan. As I'm not Nostradamus or anything like that, I just happen to know my daughter. Her favorite part of the trip, once again, was the swimming pool. That was her favorite part, and it was the what do you call it? It was the carrot on a stick that we would hold out in front of her to hopefully convince her to behave amenably to other humans around her. And it seems to work. She loves swimming around. She's not very good at swimming around yet. She's getting there. She's learning. She's been going to classes. The reason for that, it has to do with the pandemic that happened and the swimming pools being not open. So she's learning, and she's getting better. Yeah. Ash says, sup, Joe Rogan. I'm not Joe Rogan. I don't... What? Not Joe Rogan, and I don't claim to be. Anyhow. So we went to the swimming pool, which luckily was like not heated because it was extremely hot in California. I don't understand how people live there. I like visiting the desert. It does make sense to visit the desert. I don't understand how people live there all year round. Makes no sense to me. It's dusty. It's hot. Things are dying. You gotta have like a water lease. You have like multiple water leases if you want to grow things, you know. You know what I'm talking about. It's dusty, and then it's windy and dusty, and then it's hot, and that's all you. It's what you're getting because it's a desert, right? So I guess I can understand why rich people live there because they're like, we'll just dig an extra well and spray it on our golf course. So. But yeah, I don't get why average people live there. And I did notice while we were there, the average people that like the people that work at stores and stuff like that were already in the complaining about how hot it was out. And I was like, yeah, it's probably got to be the way. It's probably got to be the way that it is daily. Every day, people complaining about the hot, and you live where it's hot. Although I live where it's not super hot all the time, and people will complain about the weather here too. So I guess there's no avoiding it. Paula Kreinberg, what's up? Actual fish. I haven't been here in a while. My part of California is cooled by the sea and fog. Oh, like Northern California on the coast, or San Francisco, or what? Like northern. Let's see if we can't... what the hell is this? Oh, man, we looked up something weird. I don't know. How did this happen? How did this happen? Here we go. Map. We want the map. Let's see. This is just a very integral part of the show where I go parts of California I would live in. Let's see. Maybe Lake Tahoe, maybe? Maybe up here in the mountain foresty parts. Shasta Trinity National Forest. I might live up there. Or Klamath National Forest. I'm only just going to name National Forest like I just go live in the woods. Maybe Eureka? Up there? How expensive is Eureka these days? Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Let's see how crazy it is. I bet you it's gonna be rough. Oh, I'm burping. Oh my god. Sorry. I hadn't eaten it all today, so I had to eat right before the stream. So I ate a turkey sandwich probably about as fast as humanly possible. Eureka. Did I spell it right? Oh my god, I did. There's a Eureka, Montana also. Let's see, how expensive is Eureka, California? Mm-hmm. 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 Hmm. 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 Okay. 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. Standalone house. How big's the yard? How big's this yard? Where's the land? It's too far for my commute. Does make sense. How big is the property? Let's see. Oh, small property, 5,600 square feet. Okay, so just a little house on a street, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square feet. Classic looking Cape Cod. Looks like it needs some paint on the exterior. Interior doesn't look too bad. Has old build-ins, which can be cool. Looks like some remodeling as needed type remodeling. Doesn't look like too terrible. Asking $419,000. Okay, so you potentially could just move to Eureka, California, is what I'm seeing here. There are places as low as $25,000, a 600 square foot single wide for $25,000. Oh, looks like it's senior living though, right? Nope. You could just live there. You could just be some dude. You could just be some dude living in a $25,000 single wide, 600 square foot, baby. You could move to Eureka. Okay. Maybe Indianola is more expensive. I've noticed that places called Indianola are more expensive. Nope, there's nothing for sale there. Okay. Well, that would imply very expensive if nothing's for sale. It'd be like, name your price, boy. Yeah, I guess you could move to Eureka, California. Okay, it is possible. I think humans could move there. Let's see, where's it really expensive? Six Rivers National Forest. We got I need to get this. Okay, I need to remove that so I can show you guys what I'm looking at. Okay, there we go. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this wacky spot. This has some zaniness to it. This one has some zaniness, folks. It's got plywood walls. You can do so much with this solar-powered, unfinished cabin in the woods. Behind two locked gates, this 80-acre listing is compiled of 3 parcels, a 40-acre parcel with the home, and 2 20-acre parcels with the spring and garden area surrounded by timber-covered mountains and plenty of sunshine. Yeah, maybe I want to move here. Maybe I just want to sell everything and move to this place. I could finish the house. 3-bedroom, 3-bath, built in the year 2000. Has this place ever sold before? Nope, never sold. It's listed for sale a bunch of times. Let's see. Walk score 0 out of 10. Jack Norton Elementary School is 10 miles away. Hoopa Valley High School is 14 miles away. All right, maybe the schools aren't that good when you live out this deep, but let's check it out. Let's check out the plywood cabin. Okay, here we go. Okay, some nature. Not sure what's going on there. Big garden. Okay. No roof. This part's got some roof on it. Well, there's the inside. Well, must be where they hang their hats. Jokes, dude. Yeah, this looks hand-built. Up in the mountain. Yeah, maybe I'll move here. Guys, what do you think? Should I just move here to this place? What do you think? Huh? Should I save that home? Okay, I've saved that home. I'm moving to California. I'll see you guys later. $275,000 for 80 acres? Are you kidding me? Although this place just around the corner looks like a total dump, but it's got 40 acres. And it's $145,000 is what they're asking. Living out in the woods gets you better prices. You know what I'm talking about. I'd probably would rather move to Oregon anyhow if I was going to move states. Just to be clear. All right, let's turn this off. All right, and that's enough. That's enough goofing, boys and girls. Okay, We got serious business. Did everybody hit the like button today? Because we can't move on to the serious business unless everyone has mangled the like button and just twisted it like you're giving it purple nurple, right? Yeah. You got to give that nipple a purple nurple. The nipple. I mean, the like button. Is the like button like a nipple? Yeah. Everybody knows that. Aubrey's here. What's up? Witchy Cat, Alyssa, and Skog Shrimp and stuff. What's up? What's up, interwebs? Witchy Cat says, I'm babysitting a chicken coop build, but such a crap day. I needed stream. All right. Well, that makes sense. What's up? Oh, we can get a first-hand account. Maybe Witchy Cat can get on here and just start cussing like a sailor. Let's see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, as long as you guys activate the like button, then we'll be able to get on to the Sacramento Aquarium Society hosted the FinDig this weekend. We have to finish our Mr. Browns, brought to you by Father's Day. There's a Father's Day present. Vicky and Olivia teamed up to buy me a case of Mr. Browns, and I very much appreciate it because you get a shot of coffee, and you don't even have to go to the machine. You don't have to do anything. You just open a can. Let me see if I can't find the Mr. Browns. Let's see if I can't find them on the internet. I don't know if I can. It might not be possible. It might not be possible to find them on the internet. Oh, here we go. Blue. Okay, yeah, in case anybody's needing to get some Mr. Browns for themselves, here you go. They seem to have gone up in price. They've gotten quite more expensive than they used to be. They used to be about 99 cents. Now they're like $2 a can, which is wild. But, you know, like I said earlier, the pandemic changed things like the availability to use the swimming pool, right? So who knows? Anyhow, okay, so the FinDig. Here's my initial knee-jerk review. I will be making a video at some point. I don't know when I'll be making the video. Some point I'll make a video. Today, I dropped off Olivia for a week of camping with Grandma and Grandpa. And initially, in my head, my plan was, wow, I'm going to be able to get a whole bunch of extra YouTube stuff done and shit like that. And in between, finding out last week that Olivia's grandma and grandpa wanted to take Olivia camping, about 10 new projects have landed on my table and need to be done this week. So the majority of this week is going to be me sweating my balls off and doing my best not to injure my body. That's going to be the mainstay. Get as much work done physically as possible without harming myself. That's going to be the plan. Oh, Witchy Cat's here. Are you ready to vent?
No, I'm not going to vent because no one but you would get it at this stage. God damn it! Cattle sucks! And my construction dude is fucking with this fly. Okay, I didn't need to look over there. All right, never mind. Moving on.
What happened?
Sorry. Nothing.
I don't even know what's going on.
At an inopportune time. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, nobody would get my venting because so few people live this reality. So I'm just having a moment. nothing is where it needs to be, and it's delaying things, and it's causing me to stress out. That's all. How are you guys? You were talking about... Now I have a saw going. Hold on. And this is why I wasn't going to call in.
Oh, I can't even hear the sawing, so I don't know. It's not registering on whatever microphone you're using.
My cell phone? Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's good. Yeah.
Your cell phone microphone. Yeah. Yeah.
So I missed the whole FinDig update, switching from YouTube to...
Well, I haven't really talked about FinDig yet. I was working on it. I was working on it, and then I was working on it, and then I got sidebarred by nobody hitting the like button, and then I got sidebarred with we were looking up how much it costs to move to California.
I got that part, and then you were starting to talk about the FinDig, and then the next thing I knew, I came into the green room, and you were talking about sweating balls, and I was like, "Wait, what? You were working? What?"
You gotta get your sweaty balls. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
Gesundheit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sorry. Moving on.
Yeah.
So you're doing a bunch of things this week to not break yourself and sweat. Okay.
Well, no. I mean, the idea was to get a lot of YouTube stuff done this week because Olivia is with Grandma and Grandpa, and in the time frame from last week. So we found out on Thursday that Grandma and Grandpa were like, "We'll just take her for the whole week."
Yay-ish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I mean, it's like she's just going to be here doing whatever, you know.
Olivia thing.
It's in my opinion, it's better for her to be doing stuff than not doing stuff. So it's totally it's a benefit for her in my mind. And it's a benefit for us because then we can do a bunch of stuff. But in the last 4 days, a whole bunch of things that like need to be done have landed on my plate. And
shocking.
yeah, it is what it is. Some of the stuff I can't tell YouTube about, but I can tell the community about later. Like on Discord, if you were a member, you'd have Discord access, and then you could call me, and you could also find out like what the fuck is going on. Needless to say, I have to repair a house. I got Alyssa tomorrow working on her fish room, which hopefully will be hitting a stage of like, oh look, that's good. And then on top of that, I have to fix somebody else's house. Their windows are leaking, so I got to do that. I got to paint somebody's house so they can sell it. I got to dig a water line. I have to move trailers. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird week now, all of a sudden. So.
Well, I'm going to say it takes a huge, sorry for the drill, a huge load off my shoulders, so that's good.
Why is that?
Because that means that I don't need to buy as much time as I thought I was going to need to buy. So, for my whole project. Because I'm still delayed with that aspect of things.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll talk about that later.
I know, that's what I meant. That's why I was like, trying to be low-key on that. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Well, needless to say, we're building a little house up at your place.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We're building a studio of my own.
A Scubio. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that does work because there will be fish and
a scuba studio. Yeah. So yeah.
Anyway,
should we go on to the FinDig thing? Because
yes. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
Okay. So the FinDig, from my understanding, was organized by not only all of the people at Sacramento Aquarium Society, but sort of mainly Nico and Luke Wang. Luke Wang, I'm saying it as one word. Luke, Wang. They seem to be the spearhead of organizing, and I have to admit they did a great job. as far as I'm concerned. They did a great job putting together a really good small convention that will ultimately have room to grow, right? Like we'll have room to expand, have room to continue. Like apparently last year's had some issues that left people with a bad vibe, I guess, or whatever, however you want to explain it. I don't know. I wasn't there. I only heard secondhand accounts. They may or may not have picked some questionable guest speakers. They may have had some issues with location, logistics, all that kind of stuff, which did not seem to be the case this year. They had it at the... What is this? What is this hotel? I mean, I was at that hotel and I can't even remember. Was it the Hyatt? I don't know. What freaking hotel is that? There's a picture of it here. The 4 Points by Sheraton. Okay, it was Sheraton. Grand Palace at 4 Points by Sheraton, Sacramento. Okay, so it was a Sheraton. Okay. Anyhow, the Sheraton facility there was pretty much exactly what the doctor ordered. So whoever like picked that location, it's probably the best location for next year, unless there's something that's better. I don't know. I'm not from Sacramento, so I can't really say. But they have multiple halls that are outside of the hotel. They're not like in the hotel. One of them that they rented was the Grand Palace. I don't know why it's called that, but it's its own sort of meeting hall that's separate from the actual hotel, but it's right there at the hotel. That logistically, that works really, really well in comparison to a lot of other conventions that I have been to, where people are staying at all sorts of different hotels all around a city. And if you're in Frankfurt, Germany, chances are you probably don't know Frankfurt, Germany all that well. And you may or may not book a hotel that seems like it's close, but it turns out that it's a 8-kilometer walk away, and there isn't really transportation to get there that, let's say you're somebody that only speaks Spanish. You're probably going to get lost trying to read the German signs, right? Whereas this situation, if you didn't speak English, you could make it. If you didn't really know what was going on, you could find it. If you go here and then you're there for the convention, it'll be very easy for you to figure out. It was also very accessible, so I don't think that there would have been any impingement with anybody with any kind of disabilities. That's a huge benefit. I've seen that in the past where the only way to access especially like certain portions of conventions that I've been to, like one of the conventions I went to, like all of the freshwater stuff was upstairs. So anybody that had any kind of accessibility issue had to go to this weird elevator that didn't exactly work like a modern day elevator. And it was on the other end of the building, so they'd have to like go all the way down there, then go up this weird elevator that didn't work very well, and then be upstairs, and then heaven forbid something happen, like I don't know if the building caught on fire or something and everybody had to evacuate, like good luck trying to get out of there. But either way, the FinDig did a great job with the location and the logistics. It was really easy to get from the airport to the hotel. Although the hotel didn't have the shuttle that they promised, they did pay for our Uber because the shuttle was not running for some reason, and I don't know why it wasn't running. I never asked. I don't care. They just, when we called to get the shuttle, they were like, it's not available. If you get an Uber, we'll just give you the money for the Uber, right? So we did that. Met a really cool Uber driver from Boston. Was a really nice guy. Drove us right over there, no problem. The accommodations at the hotel were pretty good. They did have a continental breakfast, but the only downside to the continental breakfast is that they charge for it. The upside is that it is much larger than your traditional continental breakfast. Like they had hot bacon and sausage and biscuits and gravy and eggs and toast and fresh fruit and muffins, and the list goes on. It was a much more extensive breakfast, although you did have to pay $14 for it. So it is what it is. I prefer the European continental breakfast where it's just included in your room charge, but really, really, really being nitpicky with having to pay for breakfast when realistically you probably should have to pay for some kind of breakfast, right? Anyhow, the hotel was clean. It was well taken care of. The room was nice, regular, blah, blah, blah. It's not the fanciest hotel in the world, but it definitely was not a shithole. So that was good. Moving on to the actual convention stuff, which, yes, I have some video. I don't know when I'll be able to make a convention video. I don't even know if I ever will make a convention video. I did take video. I may make a convention video. I'm not sure. I got to figure out how to make one that doesn't suck. And I haven't really ever seen anybody make a convention video that didn't suck, in my opinion. They're generally just not good, right? They're just not good because they seem like, even the ones that are really good, they seem like a commercial. And you feel like you're watching a commercial. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. How to portray that someday. I don't know. I guess I probably have to make it more vlog-like, I think, if I was to do that. But then convention vlogs are super boring, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean. It's just a struggle. But let's go through the speakers. So Samantha West was the first speaker. I sat through her presentation. It was quite good. Samantha West, I forget what's their specifics here. Hold on, let me look this up. We need to make this bigger. Whoa, not that. We need to make this bigger. Samantha West has been obsessed with all animals since she was 5 when she got her very first pet, a catfish named Spot. She has a bachelor's degree in zoology and a master's degree in biology. Sam's most recent professional role was an aquatics specialist at ZooMed Laboratories, where she oversaw multiple breeding projects, which is what she talked about in her presentation. It was quite good. It was fun. It was entertaining and also educational, and definitely a look into what it is like to be a breeding specialist at not only the colleges, but also like at ZooMed, for instance. So if you really were interested in any of that, they did a great job there. I thought it was really good. It was really fun. Hour kind of flew by, and was definitely worth the price of admission. Gary Lang was one of the big speakers that was supposed to be there. Gary Lang was not there. I did not see him. I have met Gary and spoke to him on many occasions. He is basically if you're interested in rainbow fish, he's the guy. The explanation here is Gary has been keeping fish since he was 10 and has been associated with the organized hobby for the last 39 years. He's made a total of 7 trips to West Papua, where he collected at least 15 different undescribed species of rainbow fish. I don't know how he managed to get them here, because you need some kind of description to get them into the States, but that's neither here nor there. He currently keeps 90 aquariums with over 65 species of rainbow fish and blue eyes. I don't know why Gary wasn't there. Something happened. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Whatever it was, I don't know what it was. He wasn't there. I did look forward to seeing a presentation from Gary. It was one of the reasons I wanted to go. Don't know why he wasn't there, and don't know what happened with that. Which reminds me, I was going to see if he had like posted something about it. Oh, funny. I'm not friends with Gary on Facebook anymore. Presidential debate. What if Trump hits Biden with something that Trump was not ready for? Oh. Another day with on June 12th. Yeah, I don't know. Didn't post anything publicly. Don't know why he didn't show up, but it was a no-show. So didn't see Gary there. So can't really give you a takeaway of what that was. Steve Lindblad. I'm not sure how to say his last name because I don't remember. But he's the guy that owns the Wet Spot. Gave a presentation which I did not sit in on for very long, and I think the reason for that was like, oh, okay, he's probably going to talk about owning a store and this and that and the other thing because he seemed like he was the fill-in, and it seemed sort of impromptu. So I was like, all right, it doesn't seem like they had something organized. And at the time, it was like 11:15, 11:30, and we needed to get Olivia some lunch. So I was like, all right, I'm going to prioritize getting the daughter food before a total meltdown, and so we did that instead. So I don't know how good that speaking engagement was. It might have been really good. We missed it mainly because of a daughter more than anything else. Dr. Tom Barr was the third speaker on Saturday at 2:30. Tom is a professor teaching horticulture and biology at environmental science. He has a PhD in horticulture and agronomy and has owned an aquarium maintenance business for 15 years. He also runs a wholesale business for driftwood and stone, which he collects himself. I have old videos collecting driftwood with Tom. I did shoot a video with Tom after his presentation. We went, he drove us around town for a little bit. Then we went to his house, ate dessert, and we filmed a video. What's that video going to be? What's that video going to be? I don't know. Because I probably just don't want to tell you. Probably because I don't want to tell you. It, of course, will infuriate most viewers that are only looking for fish tank content because it has more to do with his bonsai collection than anything else. So whenever that video comes out, I'm sure people will be enraged, and I'll try to link them back to go, yeah, this is the guy that I went and collected manzanita with. This is why I went to collect manzanita with this guy. Like, this is the guy you would want to go do that with. But, it's one of those things that, like, nowadays, if somebody has a doctorate, you're supposed to just act like, oh, whatever, like you just went to school or whatever. I don't know. That's not my take. My take is that people that show a level of proficiency, a level of dedication, and a level of ability and whatnot that get all the way to earning a doctorate deserve at least to hear them out and at least a level of respect. Now, are there some doctors out there that are crazy? For sure, of course. It's all on a case-by-case basis, but when somebody is proving that they are an expert in a field, you always probably want to listen to them first before somebody else. That's my opinion. That's cool. One thing I wish was more prominent at conventions is how you could make your hobby a career more than being a home breeder or cleaning aquariums. Yeah, I agree from a certain standpoint that it would be great to hear from some business people in certain ways, right? The first thing to remember is when you are listening to business people, more often than not, business people don't want to give you a specific piece of advice that they are going to hold on to and hide from you, right? They're often going to tell you, like, you need to work hard, and if you're dedicated, and you blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, no shit. No one gives a fuck about whatever these platitudes that these people would put out there. People need to know specifically what to do. You need to get your business license. You need to get your insurance and bond. You need to make sure that whatever specific licenses you have to have for the type of work that you do are covered and done. And then the most important part of whatever it is you do in business, you need to fill a need. That's the best thing that you can figure out how to do. Is like, are there 100 people in my area that need, for instance, aquarium maintenance? Now, that's going to be confusing, right? Because you go, oh, well, I'm thinking of all the people that have aquariums in their houses, right? There's all these aquariums that people have in their houses. They're probably going to take care of them. But maybe I'll be the guy that could take care of them. More often than not, most of the people that have aquariums in their houses aren't going to like need your service unless they happen to have a disability or they're getting old. They're aging into the point where they don't want to be lifting and carrying and doing all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty niche in my opinion, but doctor's offices, retail stores, restaurants, those are the places where you'd want to be doing maintenance if you want to get into the maintenance game as far as aquariums go, right? So to kind of circle back on what I was talking about, you obviously have to work hard. You obviously have to do all that stuff. But what most people aren't going to do is explain to you that, like, you need a separate bank account where you deposit your money. You need a separate bank account where money is, or you need a way to track your driving miles, a way to track your lunch expenses if it actually is a business lunch versus a personal lunch. What is personal versus business? What is, can you get a tax write-off for shirts, for instance, right? Yes, you can get a tax write-off for shirts only if they have the business name emblazoned on them somehow. And I think iron-on doesn't count. I think you have to get them printed by somebody else. You have to like get them purchased in, but I might be wrong. So you would need to talk to a tax professional about that. So you need to get a CPA that is able to help you file your taxes at the end of the year, do all that stuff. There's a lot of ins and outs that like the air quote like business talks are definitely never going to talk to you about, and that are going to be profoundly more important than I think realistically most business talks ever provide. And I think the reason for that is that any of like the real information that you could be providing to somebody for their business to be successful, those business people are going to keep it a secret, right? Like no one wants to admit, oh, I just order a bunch of crap from China and then resell it, right? Like nobody ever wants to admit that as a businessman, right? You want to be like, I make sound business decisions that change the business world. I am the one who has made the decisions, right? And it's like, yeah, you made the decision to put a deposit down to buy 50,000 mechanical pencils like this, and then you're reselling the mechanical pencil. Like you didn't create it, you didn't do anything. All you did is you're just the middleman, right? Like you're just a drug dealer on the street. You're a middleman, right? But, you know, those guys don't want to tell you. They want to tell you that they're innovatives, you know, and they've done all this innovation and things like that, right? So, yeah, I don't know how well those business talks would go. Because I've been in on a bunch of the big business talks, business presentations, and they are all just completely filled with platitudes about you know, like hard work, dedication. You go to work 120 hours a week. You know, all this like crazy fucking bullshit that you hear on Instagram from the alpha male Instagram shucksters, right? Or hucksters. And they're just out there like trying to sell you this idea that like if you have the grind set mindset, you can fucking, you know, destroy the world, right? There we go. Anyhow, so the Tom Barr presentation was actually like two. His claim is that it was two talks in one. One was about the introduction of EI dosing. The other one was about the introduction to like horticulture and biology, and it was pretty good. I've heard all this stuff from Tom before, so I feel like I can't even give it a good evaluation because I've heard everything that he was like talking about during his presentation. There was a lot of head nodding on my behalf of like, yeah, all right. But it was still good to be there, and it was definitely worth it. And I think people would have really enjoyed it. Or from my understanding, people had never heard him present before really liked it. So, you know, that's it was worthwhile. Then after that was a big auction, as Mickham says. Where was it? I saw the live stream when he had Ivan. I can never say Ivan's last name. Mickle. I don't know how to say it right. Presented the Green Earth Alliance nonprofit project. Yes, they ended up raising $1,750, I believe, for the Green Earth Alliance. I can get to explain that when I get to Ivan's presentation. The Green Earth Alliance project, by that point in time, Olivia was on short timers. She was on short timer syndrome. So we actually just went with Tom to go to his house. Like I said, get some dessert, get some playtime. His daughter has a giant Lego collection and whatnot, and so there was definitely some hours of entertaining Olivia and shooting a video with Tom. So that's basically what we were doing. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly. I wonder if we can look it up because people were saying it, and I remember them saying it. No, that's not right.
Mikoli.
Mikoli? That's probably not right. In English?
Santa Claus. Santa Claus.
Does his last name mean Santa Claus? That's wild. From Croatian to English. I'm not even joking. Is it? I'll probably have to send him an email. I gotta ask him. From Croatian to English. Look at this.
Mikoli.
But I don't know if that's Croatian. Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out someday. Either way, Ivan, great job in the presentation. I can't say your last name. I don't remember how. Okay. Anyhow. All right. What were we doing? What the hell were we doing? I can't even remember what we were doing. Oh, yeah. We were hitting the like button. Apparently, that's important. YouTube needs to give me a pop-up to remind you to hit the like button, I guess. He is Venezuelan. He lives in Venezuela. He's Venezuelan. So I don't know, but I don't think his last name's Venezuelan. I don't know. He did give us a breakdown of his like heritage a little bit. But I don't recall it, so I don't want to like say. Yeah, so I don't know. That pretty much concludes like Saturday night because we came back because there was supposed to be a dinner for the presenters, and then apparently they had scheduled the dinner for the presenters in a spot that was an open restaurant. So of course the open restaurant just filled up with people from the convention. So the open restaurant was super full, and then of course the swimming pool for Olivia, which was definitely the evening hours of swimming, which we did on Friday and Saturday. Did not hit the pool on Sunday. The early morning, that the pool has a lot of sun exposure. So it just seemed like, get her coated in lotion, sunblock, get her in there in the morning. It just didn't seem like the greatest idea in the world. Number of shirts you have to order. For the short run shirts, a print-on-demand service is likely your best option. Screen print shirts last longer and can be better quality, but you pay for every color, and there is a minimum. Oh, I was talking more about working for ZoomEd than owning a fish business. So my understanding with like working at ZoomEd is like, I think 100% depends on what department you work in, but the department that she worked in, Samantha West, that is, was essentially the breeding science side of the fish part of ZoomEd. Does that make sense? So I think she basically was kind of doing what she does as a zoologist, right? Like she's like trying to breed, trying to identify, describe, that kind of stuff. And ZoomEd is obviously spending some money on that, which is much more which is a much more positive thing than we see from a lot of these I guess like pet equipment supplying companies, I guess. So that kind of was enlightening. I didn't realize that ZoomEd would have even had like specific fish breeding facilities, but also specific fish. Like they were essentially breeding fish that haven't been bred in aquariums previously, right? They don't have any record of captive bred, and they were figuring it out, right? So to see like ZoomEd putting some money into that, because even at the very least, like let's say they were only paying Samantha to do that, is still like far more than a lot of the other companies I've dealt with over the years, right? Of being like, yeah, we're a fish company. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like what fish do you guys keep? Like what fish projects are you guys working on? Do you have any fish stuff? Like I have a store where I sell them from wholesalers. Okay. Well, I make a fish food. Okay. What else you got? Like I make a filter. Oh. But these are all things that you sell. Like that's all that you're doing. All that you're doing is just selling stuff, right? So it's definitely good to see that at least ZoomEd is doing that kind of work, right? And bringing in professionals to do it and whatnot. And I don't know that everybody has like a big giant degree, like a big fancy degree, like a master's or a doctorate or anything like that. I think the impression that I got is that there are also like hobbyists working there that are knowledgeable and have proven that they can do the work and stuff. So all seems kind of beneficial to me. I'm not here to like preach ZoomEd. I mean, I don't know. I've never worked there, so I don't really know too much about it, and I've never had a tour or anything like that. But as far as like somebody giving a presentation as to why they went from working on the collegiate side of things and then moving from university to go work there. Oh, okay. This all, seems viable, and it's good to see that companies are actually investing in that, right? Gary Bagnall's channel. I don't know who Gary Bagnall is. Who's Gary Bagnall? Let's find out. Oh, the Corvus Oscen channel's live. Gary Bagnall. Who is Gary Bagnall? I don't know. I can't find his channel. So, Aubrey, you now have the task of sending me Gary Bagnall's channel. So, I don't know. Can't find it. If you look up Gary Bagnall, celebrating 40 years of ZooMed Laboratories. What do I want? I want to look up channels. I mean, they have to have, like, some views, right? Founder and CEO of ZooMed. Okay. I don't know. I've never met. I don't know. Have I met Gary? Would be interesting if I had actually met them and not know it. Is it Reptiles TV channel? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You said Gary Bagnall's channel. I looked up Gary Bagnall. Am I spelling it right? Moaf? Is that it? Oh, Museum of Aquarium History and Pet History. Okay, let's see. We'll go over to this channel here. Guys, he doesn't even have 1,000 subscribers. Interview with John Willinger of Metaframe. Oh my God. Is there a guy left from Metaframe? Yeah, it was funny. I was talking with Bentley at the last auction that we were at, and I was like, just wait for that Metaframe to come up at auction. And he's like, what? It won't be that big of a deal. He's like, yeah, I know people really like those. I'm like, just wait. It's going to sell for a ton. And I think a tiny Metaframe tank sold for like $200, and it's like, that's something you can get for $3 at a garage sale, or maybe free at a garage sale. Oh, you put it in there. Museum of Aquarium and Pet History. That's my bad. I'm fucking ignorant asshole for not reading your whole comment and absorbing it into my brain. I'm sorry. And that's just me being self-deprecating. I should have read your whole comment because I just looked up Gary Bagnall and made a whole segment about being like, I can't find it. Oh, my bad, Obs. I love you. Aubrey has been a member of the channel for a long time, and I very much appreciate them. And I can't wait to get out to the Midwest one of these days and try and catch a fish. Or have Aubrey come out here and try and go on a hike. I got to go on a hike today. A very short, impromptu 2-mile hike. Because I had to take Olivia up to the mountain pass to give her to the old folks. The old car swap. Take her out of the car, put her in there. Here's all the stuff. Here's her bicycle. Here's her roller skates. Here's her helmet. Here's all of her swim stuff. Here's clothes for a week. Here's snacks. All the usual parent thing. And there was a short hike, and I did film it. I don't even know where that camera is right now, let alone show you guys the footage. So, will it ever be a video? I do not know. I do not know. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check out those videos now that you posted that. Maybe I'll try to become friends with Gary Bagnall. A lot of great and knowledgeable people at this FinDig event. Wish I could visit someday. Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, on the second day, Alexander Williamson was the early speaker. I don't have any interest in hearing really what he has to say. Honestly, the times that I've talked to him and the times that I've reviewed his content, there's been so many like misdirections and not accurate information that people like him. People like his content. That's great. That's totally fantastic. That's great for them. But I try not to endorse stuff, and I'm also not trying to be combative about it. It just is what it is. I don't enjoy having to go on a wild fact checking tour anytime I'm listening to somebody talk, you know. And then Ivan, who is the world-renowned river explorer who tirelessly documents the diversity and wonder of the world we live in. He's promoting the importance of preserving freshwater biodiversity around the globe, and recently had the honor of having a newly described species of cichlid named after him, Astronautus milkoji. I don't know how to say his last name. Yeah, that's just a fact, right? I don't know how to say his name, and maybe I'll learn it again. I learned it over the weekend and then quickly forgot it after flying in airplanes. Getting home, I got home at 10:30 at night last night. I had to unload a lumber order in the middle of the night, and when we got here, there were police all over the place with their lights on. So something happened. The police were looking for somebody. We don't know what happened. I checked the whole property here last night in the dark, preparing myself for an interaction with somebody who may or may not be unsavory. I guess we'll put it that way. And then I didn't find anybody on our property, so I was like, okay. I had to unload the fish order. I had locked a part of my garage and had to take a door off the hinges to get in. It was a weird night. Got to bed around 1 o'clock. Got up this morning and drove Olivia up to the mountains. And since then, have forgotten how to pronounce his name. I might actually be able to make it up to Western Washington this summer. Oh, sorry. I'll read that chat after. I give my review of Ivan, right? Ivan was great. It was a really interesting talk. Really interesting talk of how he got into photography, how it happened upon him, how he's able to get involved and then stay involved. And once again, it is this very, very like niche interaction that was able to put his name onto some research papers. And that's what inspired him to just keep doing it. Right? Like he basically was going around and he was taking pictures, and then a scientist in Venezuela said, "Hey, I need you to go get a picture of this fish." Turns out it was a piranha. And he did. He went and got it. And then his name made it onto the paper, the research paper of identifying and describing this piranha, because there isn't any other picture of that piranha. And that's what he was like, oh, I made my name on the paper. And then the scientists asked him to go get a picture of a different fish. And then his name ended up on that paper. And there it is, right? There it is. He just kept going, right? Once he basically had a real minor success, but a success from outside, right? The success was brought in on something that he was doing. And I'm not even sure if it has very much to do with the pay. I think it has more to do with the, like, oh, wow, somebody's like put my name on here, right? And it seemed pretty interesting, right? That it's always just this like one little thing that allowed them to get on there and move forward, right? So the vendor floor closed at 1 o'clock on Sunday, which was pretty spot on. Most of the vendors had wrapped up by then. I wouldn't say that for the vendors, it probably wasn't a home run. I think it was a lot of little base hits. I think it was like a little bit of sales here, a little bit of sales there. I don't know that they were ever inundated by an insane amount of people. Hopefully those numbers increase next year a little bit. That would be great. But I don't know. Overall, a pretty good event. And then there was a big auction at the end, which realistically we didn't need to be there for that auction, but Olivia wanted to be one of the runners that hands out stuff that people won. So she was doing that for a while. And then, of course, her being 5, like that wore off pretty quickly when she realized it was basically like having a job. So she was doing that. And so she was having fun with that. So we just were there because I couldn't really buy anything at the auction. Now, the one downside with their auction was you had to be there till the very end of the auction in order to cash out. Like you couldn't cash out early. That meant that I would absolutely not be able to bid on anything. So the downside to that was I could have bought some fish, although I wasn't planning on buying fish, but I could have. I could have bought a bunch of plants in the auction, but because the auction wasn't going to end until after we had to catch our ride to the airport, they didn't have any way to like close out early your auction bids, which the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society, you can cash out whenever because they're updating it live. So it's just a different system. And my guess would be because a lot of their system that they're working off of is paper. That's why, is that they're having to like wait till the auction's done and then make sure that they have all your slips of paper, total them up, then get the totals out to people and then go that route. So it's just a different system, which realistically wouldn't be that big of a deal for me normally. But because we have a hard out to catch a flight, bit of a downside. But most of the vendors there were fantastic. Excuse me. Most of the vendors there were great. A lot of them had a lot of cool stuff. Stuff I probably would have bought if I didn't have a suitcase. And just like a lot of money to spend. I don't know. Didn't have a ton of money to spend on this trip either way. But I did buy a couple of unique plants off of some vendors. As you guys know, I generally will always buy some plants whenever I go somewhere that has plants for sale. Yeah. Mickham says, remember when there was only cash, easy living? No, I don't. But it has less to do with the credit card. It has more to do with like totaling up your auction number. Does that make sense? So like you could have easily, I'm not saying that like anybody would do this, but somebody could have bid on something and then they don't have the record of it yet. And then they have to pay out the person whose item was auctioned, right? And they may not have gotten the money for it. Does that make sense? Like they just have a different tracking system of how they're doing it. And it probably just has more to do with the fact that like they don't have a bunch of computers to input like at the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society does. Like the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society, like Alyssa is one of the people who works the front computer to making sure all of the numbers are on the items that are being auctioned off are going in, right? So they didn't have an Alyssa, for instance, right? They had other people. So who knows? Thank you for the tip. Oh, yeah. I might actually be able to make it up to Washington this summer. I have the time now, but maybe not the budget for the Seattle area. Yeah, you don't want to be in Seattle. You want to stay outside of Seattle. Don't try to stay in Seattle. Not a good idea. Not a good idea, Aubrey. Not a good idea. You don't want to be in Seattle. Very expensive. I'm just saying. I like his interview with the Dutch Arabon Killifish legend Franz Vermillion. That's how I got to know about Ivan. I feel like I'm missing the other part of that comment, so I don't know. Alyssa says everyone needs an Alyssa. That's true. Everyone does. Oh, whoops. Speaking of Alyssa, I forgot to message you back. In the past, only sellers had to stay till the end to get their cash. Yeah, so the way that okay, so let me explain this. So the way that the Sacramento Aquarium Society operates theirs. So the people take an item up to the auctioneer, and then they have a clipboard with a piece of paper on it that has the code on it that matches what the auctioneer is auctioning. Then they get to the total amount. They take the item over, and then they take that clipboard and they have the person fill out and sign and put their signature on it that they agree to the number that is on the slip, right? So let's say this pipe right here. Blah, 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 $7 sold. Okay, $7, this pipe. Then they'll carry that pipe over there. They'll take it to the person. Then they'll sign the thing, and to make sure that they put the right amount of money on it. And then that slip of paper is going to go back to somebody who's going to record that slip of paper. So the idea is that all of those slips of paper need to be in before they can total up I don't have a number card here. Like if your number card was like, oh, here, let's put it right here. How do we do this? I got to go reverse. Okay, if your number was 124 and you're holding it up like this, then at the end, they want to make sure that all the number slips that they have with your number are going to total out correctly. And it's because they're doing it that sort of analog way, they don't have a way to like rectify the number right at the moment. Whereas at the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society, they can rectify like immediately the total that has been bid on your number. Like they don't have it computerized yet. So maybe they'll have it computerized next year. I don't know, but they didn't currently. So I'm just saying that was the downside for me if I was going to buy some plants, right? Or fish or whatever that was in the auction. Just got here. Was the event a success? Yeah, Mike, I think overall, I thought it was quite good. You know, if I was to give it out of 10, I'd give it like a 7.6 or like maybe a 7.8 out of 10. Now, a 10 out of 10 is virtually impossible. I don't even know why it's on the scale, right? So essentially, and 0's not really on the scale. So it's really like a 1 out of 9.9. Right, because I don't think you could get a 0. I don't think it's possible. I mean, I guess if you don't do it at all, okay. I guess 0 is canceled event, right? Canceled event with no refund, right? That would be even worse. Like Macna, apparently. So I would give it like has room to grow. Could have been bigger. Like could have been more booths and more people. Like more energy, I guess. Like if all of the speakers showed up, that would be great. I think the dinner plans need to be ironed out a little bit better. And I almost feel like a banquet dinner would be almost more beneficial. Like I think it would be like more beneficial as a sort of a group affair, right? Now, I don't know if that's in the budget. I don't know if people would be willing to pay for it. I don't know if anybody's even thought of that. I don't know, but it certainly could be something to think about for next year, like a kind of a banquet dinner type situation. But I've thrown a lot of banquets in my past, and I understand like there's a lot of stress around them. So maybe people are like, nah, let's not do that. I even got a YouTube interview with Franz Vermeulen. Oh, maybe I'll have to look at that. I would have to say this is the first time I've ever met Ivan, and what a wonderful dude. What a wonderful guy. Honestly, I couldn't sing enough praises for Ivan just as a person. Like, seemed like a great guy. The one thing that I wanted to take away from his speaking, what do you call it? He's the guest speaker. Speaking engagement? I don't know. His presentation. There we go. The one thing I had hoped for previously, which was an expectation, was somebody to give a real technical breakdown of what it is that they utilize. And this is a personal thing. And I've talked about this in the past, and I have some video that I was making around this topic. And it's that anytime I've met a professional photographer that has some kind of renown, and you go like, what was really like the technical aspect of doing what it is that you do? Like, was it like a specific camera? Was this a specific focal range, time of day? What'd you do with the lighting? Did you do some kind of crazy thing with lighting? Did you do this? Did you do that? And I will tell you, the unfortunate thing is that like 9 times out of 10, it's like you were there at the time and you took the picture, right? Does that make sense? It's like, I'm trying to think of a famous model because I was using Cindy Crawford as my example, but we need like a more contemporary supermodel. Current supermodel. I don't know. Cindy Crawford is on here. Naomi Campbell is on here. Giselle Bündchen. I don't know. Are any of these new? Let's just go with Heidi Klum because she's old, right? Let's do that. She's old and she's still pretty because I saw her on a TV show a while ago and was like, who is that? And they're like, that's Heidi Klum. And she's like 60. Okay, so here we go. So like, you'd be like, oh, I'm a famous photographer. Margot Robbie was in my mind. I was thinking Margot Robbie, but let's use Heidi Klum. But yeah, Margot Robbie, Wolf of Wall Street. Like, sweet mother of pearl, right? Anyhow, let's use Heidi Klum. But like, let's say you're a photographer and you're taking pictures of Heidi Klum and they're like, oh my God, you do such a good job. And then it turns out like it's a guy with a camera in a room and Heidi Klum's there and he takes a bunch of pictures and they pick one that looks good, right? You're like, this photographer, he's so talented, right? And so there's that thing where you go, are they so talented or were they just there when the super attractive person or the super attractive fish or the super attractive sunset or whatever that was just perfect and they just happen to be there and take a picture? 9 times out of 10, it's like they're using a 20-year-old camera that barely works, that they don't make batteries for anymore, that they don't make memory cards for anymore, yada, 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 and they just happen to get a shot, and then they had somebody to sell it to, right? You're like, that doesn't help, man. It's like the business advice I was talking about earlier where they're like, well, you need to work hard and you need to be dedicated and you need to grind and you need to get up at 4 a.m. and hit the gym. You know, like, you're like, dude, okay, I understand. It would be great if everybody could get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go hit the gym and eat no carbs and eat some kind of like specially designed like artificial hormone infused take vitamins, no carbs, it would be great if everybody could do that. But like, I can't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning when I've had to stay up late taking care of a kid, right? Like you're going to die. Like you need to get 8 hours of sleep a day. And if I wake up at 4 in the morning, that means I got to go to sleep at 8 o'clock, which means that if for some reason Olivia stayed up past 8 o'clock, now I don't get my 8 hours sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like it would be perfect if everybody could just live in that world. And I actually talked about this last week when one of the guys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the TV show, he like got overweight on purpose. He gained a ton of weight for one season, and then coming back into the next season, he was super in shape. And it's because he spent 7 months working out, blah, 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 and the studio paid for it, right? So it's like that's the thing. Love you guys. Have to duck out. Rest later. Okay, Witchy Cat had to leave. She's got a chicken coop build going on, which sounds like needs attention, so that does make sense. All right, so we are getting up at 4 in the morning tomorrow to go work on Alyssa's fish room. So we got that to look forward to tomorrow. So that's good. Oh, I'll have to reply to this. Okay, there we go. Oh my God, Michael Myers, all the way from Belgium. What's up, buddy? How's it going? Are the talks going to be posted? I don't believe so. I typically don't film the whole talks themselves. I normally film just little snippets so that I could talk about them in a video later. The reason for that is that often the people that are speaking and giving the speaking engagements, like they don't want them to be recorded because they're going to give the speaking engagements later, right? And if it is part of your income stream, it's like the way that you make your money is by giving those talks and flying around, 10 times a year to go give a speaking engagement. And they pay for you to come out there. Like I know a lot of people are paid to go do those speaking engagements. At the very least, a lot of them, they pay the flight, airfare, hotel, accommodation, per diem, and a fee for doing the speaking engagement. I do know some people that charge upwards of $50,000 to go do those speaking engagements, right? So like, let's say you are somebody that charges $50,000 and somebody records it and they post it on YouTube for free. Could be a big financial problem for certain people, right? That your speaking engagement gets screwed with. Was Bar's talk new stuff or basically what is on YouTube already? I don't know what's on YouTube as far as Tom Barr stuff goes. Almost all of the correspondence I've ever had with Tom is personal in nature, like email back and forth, phone calls, text messages, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know too much about like what he has posted out there. I do know that his keynote speaking thing was two presentations that he did quickly. He did them back to back and like kind of mushroomed them together and kind of moved quickly through them. One of them was his like introduction to, I don't know, sort of a introduction to like critical thinking in regards to horticulture and that kind of stuff. And then the other one was about fish tank stuff and like how he's not the guy who invented EI dosing. Like he didn't invent it. He admittedly is the person who gets pointed at all the time. He's like, I didn't really invent it, but I sort of popularized it. So Tom's like a pretty humble guy, although he is very, 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 like, even from the standpoint of like people tell me I'm always doing stuff all the time. He's that way from my perspective, right? I'm like, how the fuck are you doing all this shit all the time? Like no doubt, I was in his backyard and I was like, yeah, you got like hundreds, you got probably like 200 bonsai here. And he's like, well, I have over 750. And I'm like, Jesus, man, like that's a lot of bonsai, you just go bonsai, that's a lot. Right. Just from the standpoint of like the bonsai that he's maintaining, that's a ton of stuff. Plus he has a kid. Plus he has a wife. They're both happy with his existence. Right? Admittedly, he only has like 1 or 2 fish tanks at his house right now. His big giant one, he replaced his big giant one with a bigger giant one, but it was empty when I was there. So, I mean, maybe I should have taken a video of it and just been like, oh, what are you doing? You're lazy. But, I didn't think of it at the time. But yeah, he's running around. He's collecting wood, driftwood for people. He's collecting rocks for people. He's doing he's like running and biking. He like runs through the mountains and swims in the, and then on top of that, he's a professor at 2 colleges, right? It's just fucking crazy. Like, I don't understand, it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, it's more than makes sense, So, yeah, I don't, So, yeah, I don't really know what his content is, and I feel like from having talked with him for the decades, I think it's decades now. I think the first time we were going back and forth was like 2002, 2003, maybe something like that. So it feels like it has been that long, and admittedly, Tom has been very supportive of my sober journey too. So from a personal standpoint, he's been very supportive of that, and yeah, he's just a guy that gets mad respect in my book, or from me. Like I'm just like a guy that's like, fuck, I respect the shit out of that guy, even to the point where I was like, he was self-deprecating on himself about having a doctorate. That like, well, just because I have a doctorate doesn't mean I know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, it kind of does, Anyhow. Oh, hold on. Let me get back here. How do you spell Wednesday? Wednes. Oh, that's why. I accidentally clicked the wrong button. Yeah, so that's one of those things. It's like, yeah, it's not just because he has a doctorate, he knows what he's talking about. It's like, you know what you're talking about and you have a doctorate. That's the double, That's the double. Yeah, Mickham's over there in Stockholm, which, man, I really want to go. It keeps popping into my head. I want to go to Copenhagen, and I want to go to Sweden. I want to go to Denmark. I want to go to Copenhagen, and I want to drive up the coast of Sweden. I've been thinking about it for a long time. I really want to do it. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I just keep thinking about it. And if I mention it on YouTube every once in a while, maybe there's, I don't know, maybe there's some weirdo watching that's like, I want to sponsor that. No, we know they're not. Because if they were by now, they would have already sponsored it. Anyhow, it all comes down to people viewing the YouTube channel, the 65 YouTube members and the 124 patrons who are sponsoring this channel that even are able to keep me like making the video and stuff. I know that I haven't released a bunch of edited video, but needless to say, I am recording and banking a lot of video. And one of these days, someone's going to come along that actually is a YouTube editor, and I'm going to be like, oh, I trust this person. And I'm going to be like, here's 5 terabytes of videos. Just start making stuff. Having a multi-day netting project, catching fish out of a large planet tank for a friend. Oh, my God, that can be a hell of a project. Heavily planted large aquariums, getting fish out of them, no easy task. Oh, nice. Alyssa's new fish room video is incoming then. Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of video recorded from working on Alyssa's fish room. And, yeah, it's recorded. Really got to do, I really got to do like a big editing session. Like just take 2 weeks off and just edit every day for like 12 hours a day or something. But I can't do that because there's people counting on me. Triple double, boil and bubble, Patreon for the win. That's right. You got to do the Patreon for the win. I mean, over at www.patreon.com/JOEL_C. This is the easiest. I have the easiest URL in the world. This is super easy. Look at that. It's just the website plus Joel_C. You could just go there and become a patron if you wanted to. You could do it for $1 a month. For $1 a month. And if you do it for a year, if you do the whole year at the same time, you get 10% off. So how hot is that? My God. Unbelievable. Or you could just stay here on YouTube and become a member. I don't even know where my YouTube membership button is. Where did it go? It was here. I don't know where it went. Should I reload this page? I'm going to reload it. It's going to be a 13-episode story arc. I fucking wish. I want to make that. Why won't the links to share pop up? I don't know. The links to share is empty. Thanks, YouTube, for the links to share thing being empty for no apparent reason. Look at this. This button area is just empty. Watch this. I'll show you. See this right here? This is the links to share button right here. Links to share. No button. So I guess if you guys want to become a member, you're just going to have to figure it out yourself. You know, I don't know what to tell you. This button is non-existent. See? There's no button here. This is how good YouTube works these days. They're like, there's a links to share box here, but there's nothing. You just are like, fucking, you know. And as you can see, we've lost members. They went down. How many members did we lose? Oh, we actually have 64. Ah, fuck, our numbers are wrong. We got to fix them. God damn it. The integrity of this whole show is lost. There we go. Okay. Here we go. 64. We gained 27. We lost 24. So, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that's going on. Look at those analytics, man. Boy, howdy. And the links to share button just doesn't work at all. Oh, whoops. I almost erased the wrong thing. There we go. No. We're not renaming it. Nope. Stop. Remove. There we go. Okay. They put rename and remove right next to each other. That's smart, right? Where do we go here? Where's the stream? Oh my God. 1 billion likes. Okay, stop hitting the like button. It's getting overwhelmed. It's going to get diarrhea. Let's see. It's going to be a third. Oh, yeah, I already read that. Netting epistogramma. Oh, Coolanderai for a friend. Am I saying that right? Probably not. At the same time, the breeding dominant female just came out of a cave with new fry. Don't want to spoil it. I've already asked a large club for sponsoring you for 2 years ago. Oh, I already asked a large club for sponsoring you 2 years ago. Perhaps I should ask again. I mean, maybe. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. I don't know that I necessarily have the content up there that anybody would really like want to sponsor at this point. I don't know. I mean, I guess it wouldn't hurt. Or it might. Maybe it'll hurt somehow. Maybe you'll ask somebody and then they get physical or something. I don't know. I doubt it. Certainly possible, though, right? Anything's possible. Remember, for 19 months, this button is non-existent. I am a bot. You cannot reply to this message. And yet, the bot did reply to the message. The FishFam Link bot has replied. I think this is actual verification that the FishFam Link bot is actually a bot. Like, it's got to be. Like you said, you put in there, you cannot reply to this message, and yet it did. And that's only the kind of thing that a bot would do. Or, actually, a human would do that. Oh, no. So it even just gets more confusing, right? Can we trust it? Can we trust it at all? I don't know. What the fuck just happened? Okay. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, we're good. We good. What happened to why am I in the wrong room? Okay, I'm in this room. Okay, there we go. I have to go back to the correct room. Anyhow. Let's see. If you have a speech for 40 minutes plus questions, I know a lot of aquascaping nerds plus regular clubs who could be interested in having a guest speaker. Actually, yeah, that's the thing. If I was hired to do a speaking event, like, yeah, I would make a 40-minute presentation easy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could, right? The bigger issue is like, is anybody actually going to hire me to go do it? That's the bigger question. That's the bigger question, right? Is there a value there to somebody that's like, oh, we better pay this guy X amount of money to come out? Where's the... Sorry, this button isn't working either. Thanks, YouTube. YouTube's a big help. Yeah, I would definitely do a presentation if somebody hired me to do it. The more the question is like if somebody is willing to actually hire to do that, right? Because like I know what my day rate is, and it's not $0. And so the kind of thing is that you go, well, let's say that I flew out in and out the way that I did for FinDig. Technically it worked, but I had to take Friday off. Because initially my thought was, oh, I'll be able to work most of the day on Friday because we're not flying out until I think our original flight was like 3 o'clock, I think. So I was like, oh, I could just work until noon, which is not optimal. It's definitely not the full day of work, but I'll get a bunch of stuff done and then we'll head out, go to the airport. But because like, our flight actually left at noon, meant that we had to leave the house here at like 7:30 because of the travel time to the airport is super dicey in the morning, right? On a weekday, right? So we had to leave pretty early, and that meant like the whole day. So you just didn't really get anything done. Plus, you get to the airport. Our initial flight was actually delayed. It was delayed like 45 minutes or something, which sort of adds up, you know. But our flight wasn't delayed. It was the flight before ours that was delayed. That meant we didn't have a gate for the plane to pull up to. So we actually had to wait for the other flight to leave, and then we got on our flight, and it really wasn't a big deal. But still, it just meant that we got there an hour later. Then the shuttle wasn't ready to come get us from the airport. It just wasn't available. I don't know why. But then we had to wait for an Uber. Then we got an Uber. Then we went over. Then we got checked in the hotel. And, you know, sort of like by that time, it's like, I don't know, 3 o'clock or something, or 4 o'clock, or I don't know what time it was. I honestly, I forget. But then it was time to like, well, we got to go find some food. So we went and found a little Indian place and had some dinner. It was a very interesting dinner. And then we had to go to the drugstore because we needed different sunblock, you know. So we walked to the drugstore, and then we walked back to the hotel, and we did all that kind of stuff, and it was great, you know. Then by that point, it's time to go to bed, and then the next day is just convention the whole day, and then Sunday convention, and we happened to leave sort of at the perfect time because we left like right at 4 o'clock to get to the airport on time, you know. But also we didn't get home until like 10:30, which meant Olivia was like 2.5 hours after Olivia's bedtime. So could definitely be an issue there. And then trying to get her up for school today, you know, it's just all that stuff. So it sort of adds up into this like 4-day window of, you know, are they going to pay for all 4 days, or are you going to just pay for the day that you're there? You know, it's very weird. And, you know, I do recall people being pretty upset about like, well, I had to pay their airfare. And it's like, well, how else are they going to get here? You know, if your thing's in Florida and I live in Washington, like I can't just commute there one morning, right? So plants plus aquascaping plus shrimps is underrated for events here. Yeah, I don't know. I will see. After all, it's not every day we've got an American speaker at events here. Actually, I really wonder what the turnout would look like if we did the promotion properly, because in Europe, for instance, like the amount that people can travel in Europe is so much more accessible than it is for people in the States per se, right? Like if you're, for instance, like let's say that you're Mickham and I think Mickham's in Sweden, right? In Stockholm? Yeah. And then who was it? Oh, Mike Myers is in Belgium. Like, to go from Belgium to Sweden, it's not 5 minutes. I understand that. But it's actually not that far. It's like me going to Chicago. It's like me just hopping on a flight and going to Chicago, right? It might even be less than that. Let's see. Oh, it would help if I put an N on Sweden instead of accidentally hitting M. Let's see. I want to see this. Yeah, look at that. OMG. Look at this. Look at this nonsense. Obviously, you don't want to fly to Moscow. That's fucking stupid. Don't do that. Don't give them any money. They'll probably just arrest you for being from not Russia anyhow. But Like, let's say you lived in Brussels or outside Brussels or whatever. You could fly to Stockholm for 161. Now, I don't know if this is dollars or euros. We'd have to figure this out. But regardless, it's like, 161. Let's just say it's 161 euro, which is not a crazy amount of money. And this flight, how long is this flight? Stops, duration. Let's see, we'll go under 6 hours, under 3 hours. Man, that's under 3 hour flight. Oh, okay. So it's between 2 hours and 3 hours flying, right? So let's say you're going to Sweden, you're going to Stockholm. It's under 3 hour flight, and it's 161 euro, and you don't have to go through immigration because you're in the EU. So this is like flying in the States, right? So let's say a 3 hour flight. Chicago's longer than a 3 hour flight. Chicago's 4.5 hours. So I'm trying to think of what state we'd be flying to. Like Colorado? It'd be like flying from SeaTac to Colorado. SeaTac to Denver, right? That's not far. And it's essentially like in-country flying in the United States because you're within the EU. So you don't have to go through the crazy immigration. You don't have to fucking do the passport control. Well, you might have to have your passport. I don't know. I've always had mine in Europe. So I don't know if you're supposed to have it because I've always just had it because I don't live anywhere in Europe. I'm not a resident anywhere. So, like, I don't know. But regardless, let's see. We are looking at the Stockholm on Paris, Milan, Stockholm. Let's see. Let's look at the. Oh God, it is on Ryanair. No, Ryanair is $88. 88 euro. You could fly on Brussels Air, Austrian Air. It's $330 though. Yeah, it might be Ryanair. And if you're wondering what Ryanair is the equivalent of oh crap, what is it? JetBlue? Yeah, it's probably the cheap one, but dude, it's under 3 hour flight. You'd just be uncomfortable for 3 hours. It's not a big deal. You are flying through the air at however many kilometers an hour that is, 700 or something. I don't know. Let's look it up. How fast in km do Yeah, 770 to 930, depending on what it is. Which is weird because I know 480 to 575 for miles. I know that, but the kilometers I don't. It's like 700. So it's a little more. It's more like 800 average, right? 800 kilometers an hour. So you are moving pretty freaking quickly, even if the seat is uncomfortable and they like forgot the food cart and the drink cart. Oh my God. The flight home, we flew on this super old plane, which complaining about air travel is the most boring comedy in the world. But we flew on a really old plane and they didn't have any coffee. They just were like, no coffee, no hot tea. And I was like, what? And like, the machine's broken. And I'm like, I'm sorry you've had to tell that to lots of people, but there's no reason to be like grumpy with me. I wanted a coffee. It's weird that you wouldn't have coffee. What else you want? I will have an ice water instead. It was weird. And I think the flight crew was kind of pissed that they were on an old plane. And I'm like, dude, I don't own this fucking business. It's not my deal, Yeah, it turns out it was Ryanair, and yeah, I know it's ridiculous, but they don't crash all that often. It's a solid point, Mickham. After all, you rarely crash. It's rare, And if you do, you're probably dead, so you don't really have much to worry about anyhow, right? Yeah, sometimes only €90 to go from Barcelona to go to Barcelona from Brussels, which I was just in Barcelona not that long ago, so I can't complain too much, except I did catch COVID while I was there, so I missed a bunch of days having COVID, and I think honestly, like my recovery from COVID has been taking longer than I expected. I think I'm recovered now, but I think I was in a big COVID hangover there for like 2 weeks. You know, I was not being as daily productful as I feel like I normally am. In hindsight, I felt like I was getting a lot of stuff done, but in hindsight, it doesn't feel like I got a lot of stuff done. Does that make sense? Like, there's shit I still could be doing, but I didn't. It's not done, you know. A lot of the cabinet stuff is done for this stupid cabinet project back here. It looks exactly the same because I've been taking the panels out from behind. So yes, last week there were 17 panels back there. Now there's only 11. But the one in the front, this one, is the sacrificial one. So it's the one that's been staying in the front. It's got a big bend to it. It's like got a whoop, and it has the pallet strap marks in it. So it's a little dinged up. So it's good for not the front. Does that make sense? I'll have to cut it into pieces someday and use it for, you know, backs and sides and toe kicks and things like that. But I've been leaving that one in the front. Oh yeah, I will. I will definitely be back to Europe. I just don't know when. This is the, I think the 4th time I've been. I think that seems right. And I'll definitely be back. Catching COVID sucks, but I mean, I'm vaccinated, so I basically was sick for 3 days, and then after that, I was, you know, usable human after that. So. You know, and it's endemic now, so there's no reason for me to be afraid of it. So I'm not, you know, same way I'm not afraid of the flu or whatever. I just wash my hands and I don't lick, you know, doorknobs and shit like that. I just go back to regularing. The downside was wearing a mask for 5 days after. It's kind of sucked, but not a big deal. I do hope to come back for. I do hope to come over for, and I'm forgetting the name of it, but I have. I'm hoping to come back for Vivarium. I really want to go to Vivarium again. That so far has still been my favorite. That so far has been my favorite convention that I've ever been to. I don't know how it is now after post pandemic. I don't know what it is like, but like just perusing through the pictures, it looks like it's just as good as it was when I was there. I definitely want to go back to Vivarium. It's definitely it's definitely so far the top tier. It's definitely the top tier event that I have been to as far as a hobbyist. You know, I'm not a vendor, so I'm not there to like make deals on, you know, buying goods or anything like that. I do want to meet up with the crew from Belgium again, and hopefully be able to try and like go to some of the tour some of the houses and stuff, like, you know, people's collections and shrimp rooms and stuff like that. I really hope to be able to do that, organize it in a way that that makes sense. The speaking events were great there. The layout was great there. The crowd was good. I mean, I just had a blast at Vivarium, and I would love to go to Vivarium again. I really do. I honestly say that if you are looking to do a fish convention, if you were to copy Vivarium, you would not be. You'd be doing well. You'd be doing well for yourself if you just copy Vivarium, right? Like, just do what they're doing, and you'll be good to go. Honestly, I mean, even just the aquariums that they have set up for the competition, and the fact that they like this here, they have reptiles. This is the layout. So this is from upstairs, and there's even stuff upstairs. But this is like the ground floor, and then there's vendors up on this top area up here. But the booths are divided like this. The people that are in these booths are doing a great job. The setups are great. This is the speaking area where it's open, so that they're speaking. There's Chris Lukup speaking, one of my favorite guys in the hobby. And this is the dinner area. I don't know. I never made it to the dinner area. I don't think I was invited, or maybe this is like the restaurant area or something. I don't know. I never went to that. But the scaping tutorials that they do, the live scaping that they do is great. All of the aquascapers they had there, very admirable. Did a great job. There's a competition. They all kind of competed with each other. Nobody invited me to compete, but it's probably because I don't have a big enough name internationally, right? Or even not internationally. So, it is what it is. Like I'm one of the weird guys that gets recognized, you know, but it is what it is. I have to make more viral videos, I think is the reality of the world. If I want to be invited to go aquascape. Yeah, I've been to Vivarium once. I went to a bunch of stores and stuff in the Netherlands. I was very impressed. I wanted to make it to Belgium, and we had met up with some of the YouTubers and whatnot from Belgium. We had a great time with them. They were kind of stuck and were unable to like make it back to Belgium to kind of take me there because I'm not just gonna like steal a car and drive around, just like drive around Belgium. Like, where's that? Somebody have a fish tank, and so the timing didn't work out because all of the crew from Belgium had to go to another thing. I don't remember what the thing was, but they had to go to this other thing. Should do a scaping weekend event. Get you, Chris, Lukup, George Farmer, Oliver Knott, and we've got something fun rolling. Unless you're all arch enemies or so. I get along wonderfully with Chris Lukup. I get along fairly well with George. George invited me to his wedding, so I think I haven't talked to him in a long time. Just because, I don't know. And Oliver Knott, we get along really well too. So, I mean, that would be fine. I was just looking, and it's 6-ish hour flight for me to get to SeaTac and around 550 round trip on the cheaper end. Yeah, you got to fly on off days, and find deals, use miles, that kind of stuff, to really drop those numbers down. But basically, if you are trying to take a trip and you're trying to go somewhere, what you want to do is you want to figure out a window of time, right? So think like September, right? Think August, September, October. I don't know. Window of time. And then what you want to do is look for flights that are being cheaply sold. That's basically what you're looking for. You're looking for, like, we know a lot of people don't travel on these dates, and they'll and if we want to sell these tickets, we have to sell them cheaply, and then it's going to be on weird days, like you fly out on a Tuesday, right, and then you fly back on a Wednesday or something, or a Thursday or whatever. So, like, if you want to try to fly out on a Sunday, you're fucked. If you want to try to fly out on a Friday, not good. What you want to try to do is fly out on Thursday or Tuesday. Monday is not good either, because that's going to be all business travelers, right? Especially in the States. That's going to be like people are flying out for business stuff all the time. So it's always going to be booked. So you have to look for weird days and stuff like that. And I would then be looking and then book your tickets that way. That's the cheapest way to go about it, is just like look for the opportune times when the airlines are trying to get butts in seats for times that they know that they're not going to be able to book those flights, and they're having to move planes. That's what it is, right? So, like, let's say you're in St. Louis. At some point, the airline is going to deem that they need to take a St. Louis airplane and fly it to SeaTac for whatever reason, right? However they organize themselves. These planes are going to have to move around to accommodate the other flights that are in high demand, right? And what you're trying to book, and they're not telling you about this, but what you're trying to book is that plane is being moved from one place to another, and they just want to get people in there so that they're not flying the plane around for free, right? So that's what you're trying to book realistically, right? Is those flights where they're like moving the plane from here to there because they need it to be in whatever city because there's a high demand to fly to a different city, right? Because like you wouldn't want to fly to Hawaii on June 24th, right? Like today. You wouldn't want to fly to Hawaii today because for those of you that don't know, the kids, so all the kids that are under 18 are on what's called summer break. I don't know if you guys have summer vacation overseas. I don't know I don't know how you guys do it, but here the kids are not going to be in school for 2 months, right? So all of the parents and families and all those people that are going to be able to go on vacation and it's summertime, they want to go on vacation because it's summertime, they're all going to be flying to places like Hawaii right now. So some people were asking, like, why did we take Olivia to Disney in November, right? Well, Olivia's birthday is in November, and it happened to coincide with the fact that, like, Disney is supposed to be super slow in November, but the memo got out. The memo got out to all sorts of people because Disney was fucking sold out when we were there. It was crazy busy when we were there, and but we were like, all right, this is going to work, right? This is going to work really good because her birthday's in November, and it's normally the slow month, so it's going to be great. The weather's going to be shit here. It's going to be raining and 38 degrees Fahrenheit, which is fucking, I don't know, 2 Celsius. The weather's going to be shitty here. Southern California, it'll be 75 and sunny. That'll be great. You know, for whatever reason, the memo got out that early November was not very busy at Disneyland because all the people showed up when we were there. It was crazy busy when we were there. And I even asked, like, the Disney people, like, why is there so many? And they're like, we're sold out. I don't know. It's weird. So it's fucking nuts. But I don't know. I hope we can try to go in like not this year, but like next year. Or maybe the year after. It's really expensive, so I don't know. But I would like to go back to Disneyland. We had a blast. It was really fun. Olivia had so much fun. I realistically, like, I don't know, maybe it's just a dad thing or whatever, but like seeing your kid having like that much fun and just being able to like be with them all day long and do fun stuff is fucking, it's rad. I mean, it's just so fucking cool, and I'd love to do that all the time. And like this last weekend was a good example of that. Like I like, honestly, I had to spend a lot of time like talking with people and like socializing and like doing that kind of stuff, which I also enjoy. It was just great. But the cool thing was to be with Olivia, with Vicky, doing something. I don't know what their takeaway is. I mean, I know that Olivia has fun because Olivia has fun. She's 5. I mean, she's either crying or having fun, and she's more often than not having fun. She's very rarely is she crying. So, you know, that's the definite like upside. I don't know how Vicky felt about it, right? I don't know. I think the feeling that I get is that Vicky would have had a lot more fun if we didn't have Olivia with us, to be honest with you. Because it's such an adult event. Like, there were some other kids there, but not really. It's an adult event where like drinking and doing drugs and stuff is not even really on the radar, right? So it's a really cool event where people are doing very like down to earth stuff, right? Like if we go to a concert, the primary thing for a lot of people that's happening there is they're getting drunk, right? So it's kind of like, hey, well, all right, you know. If we go to like a dinner event, or somebody's wedding or something like that, there's a lot of drinking and this and that and cavorting and weirdness going on. Whereas honestly, at fish conventions, like I could really tell that like Vicky was having fun getting to meet people, getting to check things out and see stuff. And, you know, and I can tell because I hear her like actual laugh versus her professional laugh. It's definitely two different laughs. And I definitely heard her, like having real laughs, and generally kind of enjoying the fact that like, hey, this is kind of a down to earth thing. Right. Although she probably would have wanted to go on more hikes or something like that, but we didn't have a lot of time to do that. Who is the most renowned freescaper that doesn't use any plastic, glue, or fake stuff? You know what? I don't know. I honestly don't have a great answer for that. I generally like to use the most natural stuff. Here's the real downside. If you're only trying to use natural stuff that is just 100% like naturally spawned, it's like buying diamond jewelry, right? Like it's going to be the most expensive thing. And the biggest thing that I get in aquascaping is a pushback on the cost. That's always the biggest pushback I get from people. Like, of course you can grow plants. You have a CO2 system. I'm like, yeah, man, I bought my bottles used. I bought my first CO2 system used. I bought my second CO2 system used. I bought my third CO2 system used. Actually, the first CO2 system I used was yeast and sugar, right? Which is, it works, but it's a fucking disaster. Yeah, I mean, people go substrate. It's so expensive. Lights, so expensive. You know, acrylic tank or a rimless tank, so expensive. You know, speaking of the devil, this tank just started making some weird sounds. Hold on. I'm going to figure this out. I bet you there are snails. Had to figure that out. There's snails caught in the overflow, still working fine. Basically never going to clog and overflow and do anything weird. But there was a bunch of snails slowing down the overflow and is making a trickling noise. So, yeah. Yeah, so like I was saying, like the biggest pushback I get from people is the cost. Like, and if you are really only using the most immaculate or big stones, super expensive. If you're only using like the driftwood that just looks fucking awesome without even having to do anything to it, super expensive. Really high-end plants, super expensive. 88 Amazonia or whatever comparable substrate, which also is something that I spent a lot of time talking with Tom about, because he and I were some of the early guys to kind of collaborate and figure out like where the Amazonia is coming from and where the other substrates are coming from. So yeah, I mean, that's all expensive. So if everything is expensive and you're really only using the cream of the crop expensive stuff, it's going to really add up, and it makes it sort of unattainable for the average person. Whereas some super glue, some foam, you know, some cheap driftwood pieces that you make into something that's much cooler, I think is more accessible, because, you know, if you can put some sweat equity into it, like that's, you know, that's always going to work out for the average person. That like if you take some time, you can make the thing cooler than just the really expensive stuff. Whole of July is pretty much everyone's summer vacation month here in Scandinavia. July plus August for the countries more south, I think. Yeah, so over here in the States, that period of time is sort of like June 21st, like last Friday, until Labor Day, which is September 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, whenever it is. It's the first weekend in September. Labor Day this year is September 2nd, because it's the first Monday in September. So it doesn't have a number. It's just the first Monday. So this year it's September 2nd. That's pretty much the real vacation times. Those snails were trying to escape from Puffy. Yes. Yeah. I think they were trying to escape from Puffy, or he had already chomped them and they were just the shells. I don't know. Hard to say. He was being a little grumpy face this morning. I don't know why. He has a tendency to like, I don't want to be bothered. I'm a puffer. Don't bother me. I'm just chilling. But have you ever seen an aquarium on weed? Yeah, the back of a $2 bill or whatever. Most fish club events I've been to have been really nice. Beer or some drinks, yes, but never anything crazy. Yes, that's exactly the thing. It's like there'd be some beer and wine at an event, and it's not the forefront. You go to a big concert, the beer, wine, shots, all that stuff, it's all at the forefront. Like people are just drinking all day long, right? So yeah, I mean it's just not the forefront of the thing, right? And like I've said, you know, in the past, I love going out to dinner. I'll stay out late after dinner. That's all cool. I don't mind if people are like drinking and hanging around. Like once it reaches a high water mark though, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. You know, when the people that are kind of taking it a little too far and they're a little too ham boned, you know, I'll normally just be like, yeah, I'm tired. I got to go to bed. Oh, maybe Puffy misses all the Corys. Maybe he's got all these guppies in here, so. But you know, sometimes he just hangs out in the bushes and he's just like being a loner. We should probably get him a girlfriend one of these days. But yeah, like I think realistically, like I think aquascaping is definitely accessible to people. But it also came up this weekend. People were asking me like, what's the biggest issue with aquascaping in the States? And I think like still to this day, like the biggest issue with aquascaping in the U.S. is the sort of collectoritis syndrome that a lot of people get. Is that it's not how do I make my current tank better? It's how do I get another tank and set up another tank? Because I'll admit it, it is fun to set up a new tank, right? And so a lot of people get sort of obsessed with like setting up a new tank and getting a new tank, and I'm going to get another tank and I'm going to set that tank up. As I think more of the bigger issue in the States than there being necessarily like less talent or less ability or anything like that. I think it more boils down to the availability to set up new systems being fairly cheap to get the tank and a filter at like, you know, PetSmart sales or Petco sales or anything like that. So I think that's the bigger issue in the States than anything else. Oh, pro tip. If you have one of those twin sponge filters with the suction cups and the suction cups stop working, you can zip tie a chunk of tile to the bottom and then it's fine. Yes, you can zip tie a weight to a sponge filter and it'll be held down by that. Oops. What did I do here? Got the bright screen. I can see I suddenly get well lit. Payment. Oh my God, it's just me. The bills are going out. Okay. We don't like the bills. Bills are going out. Everyone wants bills to come in, but bills are going out. Payments automatically going out of my bank account. Okay. Delete. Okay, there we go. Caught up on emails, apparently. Oh, that's not a... Oh, there we go. Okay. What the F is this? Animal Medical Center. Oh, Vicky. Okay. We have dog appointments. Oh my God, we have to take all these dogs to the vet on Thursday. I don't know about all that. Owner Appreciation Day. What? No, we're not going to a baseball game. Nope. Okay, all junk mail. None of the mail was good. Sewer inspection? Do you guys want to look at this sewer inspection? No. Okay. I'll answer the question for you. You don't want it. You don't want to see that sewer inspection, you know what I mean? Are there any differences you noticed about the U.S. way of fish keeping versus the European way, or is it mostly the same? It's definitely different. Not in like a super dramatic different way, but I would say like what I was talking about before with the collectoritis, like Americans are collecting too many tanks for themselves to take care of. And I can say that more or less across the board. And Europeans are generally focusing on a smaller number of tanks, like a more reasonable number of tanks, right? And are generally taking better care of the smaller amount of tanks that they have than in the States. You know, and I'll put it this way, like this is sort of a weird thing to say, and I think people will be generally thinking like people will be all pissed, right? And whether they want to be pissed or not, you can verify whether or not I'm accurate or not in your own time. But when getting questions about like fish sickness or tank problems in the States, the first thing I have to ask people is, how long has it been since you've done a water change? And how often do you do your water change, right? And can you like honestly tell me how often you do the water change, and have you actually done them, right? It's like, well, my fish have ick. Okay, have you done a water change? No, I haven't done a water change because my fish got ick. Why not? Like, they still need clean water. Now, obviously, if you have an understocked tank with big filtration and all this stuff on it, you probably don't need to do a water change, but it sure as hell isn't going to hurt anything to be doing your water change, right? It's generally not going to be doing harm to get the water change done. Whereas in Europe, like Europeans, I don't have to ask them like, how long has it been since you've done your water change? Because they probably do it every week or every 2 weeks like they normally do. It's like not even on the list of like, oh boy, should I ask this German if they're actually doing their water changes, right? Because chances are the German's doing the water changes, right? So it is a bit of a difference, but I think like the bigger difference is that in the States, people are collecting a lot of tanks because they want to collect a lot of species. They want to collect a bunch of different fish. They want to collect this. They want to collect that, and it's more accessible. It's more accessible to collect a bunch of stuff in the States than it is in Europe. And one of the big reasons for that is that, like, if you're mistreating your fish in Europe, it's in almost every country, it's technically a crime, right? Like, I can intentionally just kill these fish today, and there's no one in the States that would even bother to even, like, care, right? Whereas, like, all of the stores in the EU, it's required that they have to sell healthy fish. We don't have any of that in the States, right? Like, the store's not responsible, really, for the fish. Like, in the States, like, you know, Americans realistically don't care about fish. It's not something that, like, you know, it doesn't have, they don't have like little brown eyes, right? So there's like not even really, like, PETA probably doesn't even care about fish, right? Like, even the organizations in the U.S. probably don't even care about the mistreatment of fish, right? Like, I know that there are people that go around and film dumpsters of beta fish at Walmart, and so Walmart doesn't carry fish anymore that I know of, but I don't go to Walmart, so I don't even fucking know, you know? It's like, it's one of those things, right? But that definitely is like a big difference. And the other big difference is that most Americans are not, like, deeply researching the stuff that they have. We have access to it, and they generally aren't doing it. Most Americans just want to be told what to do. I don't know why. I'm not that way. I fucking hate that. I've hated that forever. I mean, I was a chef for 18 years, and people would ask me, oh, how many cups of flour in this? And I'm like, I wrote it down in the recipe book so that you could go look it up. Well, you could just tell me. No, I can't tell you. You can either be self-motivated to go look up the answer and be using the recipe, or you can get the fuck out of here. And it sounds rude, but the reason I say that is that I know that that person will choose to not even bother at, you know, if there's no one around to ask, they'll probably just throw whatever in there, right? Because they're like, I need someone to tell me. It's like, no, you know, you need to be looking this stuff up first and be like, I've looked here, I've looked there, I've looked here. I don't have an answer. Can anybody help answer this question? Whereas opposed to, they just want to be told, like, put Melafix in there and it'll fix your fish. Like, I don't fucking know, man. I haven't been around your tank, so I don't know what's going on with it. Audra Meyer says, hello, I totally saw you and your beautiful family were at the FinDig and didn't even realize it was you. Yeah, that's me. I'm wearing the same shirt I was wearing yesterday. I changed my undershirt and everything, but I knew I was going on a hike today, which admittedly was not a very big hike, but I was like, I'm going to get all sweaty and stuff while I'm out there. No reason to get another shirt dirty when I didn't really do anything in this shirt other than, stand around. But yeah, sorry I missed you, Audra. Would have totally hung out and talked to you. It's kind of the whole reason I go. Can you propagate Echinodorus by cutting the stem and replanting? Boost Plant says that on their site, but I thought swords don't work like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Why would you cut and replant? Let me find an illustration of what let me find a I can show this better than I can put it into words. Images, where is it? You can split them by cutting them, but you need to cut them. Is there no pictures of anybody cutting them? Oh my God, we're gonna have to refer to the arrow. We're gonna bring the big yellow arrow back, guys. Well, anyhow, somebody's got a picture here. Okay, here we go. No, that's not right. Well, all right, I'll show you this one first. So first and foremost, Echinodorus should be doing this, sending out little babies. Little babies, okay? So we got that. If you're talking about Echinodorus like swords, need one with the roots. Where's one with the roots? Yeah, this is a emergent. This is an emergent grown one, so it's going to look different if you grow it in your tank. Just be aware of that. But we got to bring back the big yellow arrow. We got to find the arrow. Okay, so you can cut them to propagate, but we have to find the arrow, and I'm going to show you where to do it. I couldn't find anybody, any pictures, and I don't have any pictures. I mean, I probably have pictures of doing this on my computer, but it took me way too long to find them in my tome of files. Okay, so you would need to cut down here, right in here. Roots, cut in between, and you can split them into two plants. But like the first picture I showed, they're either A, going to send out runners, right, underneath the substrate that will pop up, boink. And then the other method is, let's see if I can't find an image of Los Bebes. No, that's not helpful. Let's see if we can find one. Do. That doesn't help. Eh? Aha. Oh. Well, can I resize it? No. All right, here's what we have to do. We have to go like this. We have to remove that. We got to add source. At some point, it should do this, and it should do this, right? My God, man, I resized it. Oh, can I go like this? Oh, here we go. Yeah. Oh, man, my arrow's in the back. Oh, man, this is turning into fun times. Anyhow, so it should do this, boink, when it's flowering. Burp, burp. And if depending on which sword you have, it can flower and bud little new guys from the flower buds. Those are like the three ways. You can split it. You can let it grow underground like this. And then the flower splits sometimes if they are fertilized, essentially. fertilize is probably the wrong way to put it, but you know what I'm talking about. If they're fertile, then they'll send a little baby out. But those are kind of the 3 ways to do it. So, yeah. I mean, I personally never really wasted time splitting them that much because swords just grow so prolifically. Because, as you can tell, I've got buttloads of substrate, and when you give swords tons of substrate, they're going to grow these huge freaking root balls. They'll blow your mind, and they'll start growing like crazy. Audra Meyer says, your daughter was adorable and did great as a runner. I will agree with you. My daughter is adorable, and I don't know that she did great, but boy, howdy, was she getting a big assist from the very, very nice lady whose name I don't remember, whom was helping her, which was great. It's so hard as a parent to, like you want to jump in there and be like, I'm here to teach you. And the unfortunate thing is, in certain instances like that, like the best thing I could do is just kind of hang back. And then when the other adults are like, oh no, you got to do this. Oh, you got to do that. There's this weird thing where like kids are super responsive to like, oh, this adult is telling me the thing. I better listen because it's a different adult, not my stupid parents. And so, yeah, it's like an interesting thing, but she was very, very helpful, and it was amazing. At Corvus, thank you for your view. It's very interesting to me to see the difference worldwide. Funnily enough, Corey from Co-op once made a very similar observation. It's because I made that observation when we spoke with Chris Lukup and Oliver Knott. So, yeah, I don't have anything to do with Corey anymore, but for about 7 years, I spent a lot of time working with the co-op, and it's not strange that he would be touting the same thing that I said during an argument between all 4 of us on camera, because we did a U.S. versus Europe thing. So it was Oliver Knott and Chris Lukup on one side, and me and Corey on the other side, trying to sell the Americans. But I was born here. I respect America, whatever the fuck you want to say, but I'm not a psychotic like nationalist like that. I want America to be better by bringing in all of the other parts of the world that have a provable better way to do something. Does that make sense? If you have empirical evidence that this is a better system, you know what America should do? We should go, we're going to do that too. But nope, somehow here in 2024, people are flying flags and freaking out and losing their minds about hoorah, America, this nonsense, that nonsense, and it's a little ridiculous. I literally was in an argument with people the other day that were trying to tout the American Revolution as to, we opposed a 1 or 2% tax, and we fought a revolution. And I'm like, who the fuck is we? What are you talking about? It was 250 years ago. You don't know anybody that fought in that revolution. You didn't fight in that revolution. You didn't have anything to do with any of that. What are you talking about? We fought in a revolution? And some people will be like, oh, you're delusional or whatever. Like, delusion? Like, that is the perfect example of a delusion. They think that, like, somehow we fought a revolution over a tea tax against the British, right? We didn't do any of that. We were born here, and we're supposed to be making this a better place by improving it. Boost means the runner that swords put out, the runner with the flowers on it. If you dunk it under the water, it will turn into new plants that you cut off after they sprout roots. Okay, yeah, that's true. I've heard that some European countries don't allow recreational fishing or catch and release fishing due to animal welfare, and it's not a good reason to inflict pain on an animal. I believe that's accurate. I don't know exactly Like if that's 100% true in Italy or something. I don't know. I don't know. I've heard that. Catch and release it's legal to a degree in the U.S. too, because there are definitely certain waterways that you can't be fishing in unless you have a permit, regardless of catch and release. In some places, I do know that, but then again, federal waterways or all waterways are generally federal, right? Isn't that how that works? But also, I don't know every fishing regulation in the U.S. Is there? Well, hold on. Let's see. Let's see if we can't just get something quickly. Yeah, all marine national parks, marine protected areas, all mouths of estuaries are forbidden for fishing vessels. In developed countries, size, if any vessel deviates from the set norms. One could argue that it's illegal to fish most American states. If you don't have a license, you're illegally fishing and can get in trouble for that. There are also plenty of places posted no fishing signs. I don't know about no fishing signs, whether that's accurate or not. But, like, you can't fish on federal waterway in relation to, like federal bases, like military bases and shit like that. I know you can't fish there. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I know that it's just like so varied state to state in the U.S. that like I would always just like check beforehand before going into it, or go with a local that will get locally arrested, right, or fined. Like I'm just a conscientious observer, sir. Just kidding. But yeah, I would always check with the local regulations in the area that you're at before you go dunking your line in. It's always good to check. Well, like for instance, in Eastern Washington, we needed you needed a license for a bunch of stuff, but you could shoot arrows at carp all day long if you wanted, and we would reel them back in because what were they using them for? Dog food. We were allowed to shoot as many carp as we wanted. There was no limit because they were super invasive. They're not supposed to be in the river. And the interpretation that I had when I was much younger was that it didn't matter how many you killed, you weren't getting rid of them anyhow. Let's see. Let's look it up. Carp regulations. Where is it? Oh yeah, see, like the carp aren't regulated in the Columbia River. So in the Columbia River, you can get 2 adult salmon or steelhead per day, 20 per year is your total. 5 jack salmon per day, 2 daily jack limits in possession. The Chinook or coho salmon is allowed only in certain areas. Wild steelhead is not permitted in the Columbia River Zone because the Columbia River Zone, there's not enough steelhead in there. But the carp, like, they don't give a fuck about carp. But I think you need a fishing license is required to fish for carp. Oh, I guess you needed a license. I don't know if anybody's got a what do you call it? What do you call it? Like a time machine. You can go back and find me for shooting carp with a bow and arrow with a reel attached to it. Put a fishing line on an arrow, and there's a reel on the bow, and you go funk, and you carp, and then they thrash around all crazy, and you run back up on the bank, you reel it in, and there you go. Got yourself a big ass carp that's terrible to eat, and they're not even supposed to be in there. But they say there's also no daily limit. There's no daily limit for carp. You just need a license, I think. And this might have been like when I was a kid, you didn't need a license, but that also says Moses Lake and Vancouver Lake, you don't need a license. So they're literally like, what do you call it? Shit, what happened? My fucking brain. What happened to my brain? They'll let you catch just as many as you want, but they're terrible fish. They're garbage. Why the fallout with Corey? I thought you literally helped build the co-op. Am I wrong? Yeah, I literally helped build the co-op. The fallout with Corey would... you'd have to ask him, man. They gave me a letter, and I don't work there anymore. That's basically how it goes. And I don't have any contact with anybody that works there, so I don't... Because, what am I going to do? Stir the pot? I don't give a fuck. It's how it goes. I'll put it this way. Like, let's say you date somebody for a long time. Boy, girl, whatever. Transvestite, I don't care. Doesn't matter. Let's say you date somebody for a long time. You do a ton of stuff together, and then they have somebody else bring you a letter that says, we're done here, and get out. Right? Wouldn't that be weird? And then you'd be like, well, why don't you talk to that person anymore? You'd be like, well, because fucking what is this? Right? Like, let's say you were with somebody for a long time, and then they sent a lawyer with a letter to serve you papers that says, like, we're no longer in a relationship anymore or whatever, right? Wouldn't that be weird? Do you imagine that would be weird? That'd be weird, wouldn't it? That would be weird, and you'd be like, yeah, I don't really want to talk to that person anymore. We don't really have any reason to talk to that person anymore. You'd be like, wouldn't that be, you'd be like, yeah, I can see that. That's basically where we're at. And somebody a while ago told me that, like, well, he was just your boss and that's it and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I relocated my whole family. I relocated my family. We bought this house up here to work and do stuff. Amongst a bunch of other stuff also. We made a lot of like personal sacrifices to go do a bunch of stuff. I didn't let on very much, but like when we went to Peru, like I had like 10 days notice to go to Peru. And it's because Zenzo didn't have a passport, right? And so the doctors were telling me that, like, hey, man, you shouldn't go in the water because, yeah, we just gave you a bunch of vaccinations and inoculations and stuff like that. But, like, you really shouldn't go in the water because you need shots now and you need shots in 2 weeks. We're going to give them to you early, but they need time to work. It's not like we give them to you and you're just immediately inoculated. Like, your body has to work it into your system and stuff like that, right? So while I'm eternally grateful for having gone on the trip to Peru, it was very eye-opening. It was very, interesting. It was great to go. I was also like putting myself in danger because everybody else had gotten their shots like 4 months before that, right? They got all this time to get prepared for it. And I didn't have the time to get prepared for it. And when I went, I got super sick while we were there, right? It's probably not in any of the videos because most of the stuff that I did for the co-op didn't really make it into videos. per se, other than the fish talk, like the real fish talk when we did that, which somebody brought up to me last weekend. That they were like, yeah, the real fish talk thing was like the best thing that you guys did. Why didn't you guys keep doing it? And I'm like, it wasn't my decision. It's not my business. Right. So, you know, like what am I supposed to do there? Right. Like I can't force somebody else to do something. Yeah. So, you know, the reality is that like when you get down to like every little brass tacks of all of the conversations, it always leads back to, well, it's a business. Well, it's a business. Well, it's a business. You go, okay. If you're beholden to business and that's the thing that that's the only thing that you're doing in your life, kudos, c'est la vie. See you fucking later, you know? Because I know this from knowing a lot of people who have died, right? I've been there when people died. I've talked to people while they were dying. I've taken an interest in elderly people to ask them about stuff. And also, it's been documented throughout humanity that the elderly people don't ever sit and think, you know what I should have done? I should have worked so much harder for Boeing. I should have done a whole bunch of extra shifts for Boeing, you know? Like, fuck my family. I should have been at Boeing overtime, double time. Like, I should be doing double time, triple time at Boeing the whole time, and now I'm going to die, right? Like, every single person, well, not every single person, but by far and away, the majority of people are like, I should have spent more time with my family. I should have spent more time with my family. I should have spent more time with my friends. I should have been doing this. I should have been doing that. People are going to look back and they're going to regret the entirety of their lives. And guess what? All those people were the robber barons. If you want to look for like big business guys, ever heard of the fucking Great Gatsby and shit? You know, like the robber barons of America, you know, the Hudson family, the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, all of those guys, they tried to make up for lost years when they were in their 80s and 90s and dying, to make all of these like charitable contributions so that people would try to remember their name in the future as not being a cutthroat psychopath who was like only doing business the entirety of their lives, right? Like the Carnegie Foundation still exists. The Rockefeller Foundation still exists because they extracted so much money from the American people that their legacy still exists, right? And all of those guys on their deathbed wanted to be known as the charitable, right? Like they wanted to be known as the charitable one. Let me see. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, here it is. One night, John was unable to go to sleep. John D. Rockefeller himself, right? Okay, here we go. I'll start at the beginning just so that you guys can hear the beginning of this. John D. Rockefeller testified that he was a Christian. He did understand that God had given him the gift to accumulate wealth. However, it was a curse because he hadn't sought to know the true purpose of the wealth he had been given by Almighty God. He heard his pastor say, "God will give money to you if he can get it through you." One night, John was unable to go to sleep, so he turned to God in prayer and was given a vision, right? He had a vision. In the vision, the Lord said to him, "All the money in the world will do you no good in heaven or hell. Your job and your responsibility are to give it away to bless others, right? Now, this did not come about when John D. Rockefeller was doing everything to destroy every union, every other company, every other thing that was in his path. This is after he already had millions and millions and millions of dollars, equivalent to a billionaire today, right? This all came later in life when he was sitting around and realized that he was all alone, right? Yeah, and so it's like this all came later, right? This all came later. So throughout the early part of his life, all he was doing was just destroying everything that was in his path, taking everything that he could possibly get. And then later in life, he goes, "Oh shit, God told me that the thing is going to happen," right? Unless they are total douches like Limbaugh, he was dying and spent his last weeks and days spewing more hate. Yeah, Rush Limbaugh was never a business guy, though. Rush Limbaugh was a personality. That's the difference, right? That's the big difference there. Yeah, Rush Limbaugh became wealthy because he was an online personality. I mean, I do the exact same thing that Rush Limbaugh does, right? It's like I just come on here and I talk for a couple hours. It's basically the same thing. I just don't come on here and spew hate about different races and people who were afflicted with the AIDS, or people that have same-sex relationships. Like, I don't spew any hate about that stuff. I do talk shit about corporations doing stupid corporation shit all the time, because fuck corporations. Like, fuck them forever. You can quote me on that. I don't care. I don't think it's because he was alone. I think he wanted to make a monument to himself. No, he had a fever dream. He had a fever dream and thought God was talking to him. And it's because he was afraid that he was dying. It's because he was dying. He was dying, had a fever dream, and thought God had said to him that he better, give it all away. Which, by the way, he didn't give it all away. Do you think he gave away his home? Do you think he just lived on the streets? Right? No. He still was insanely wealthy. He gave away what would be a lot of money to you and I. Like, I can't give away $10 million, $100 million. I don't have it. You can't get blood from a stone. You can't get urine from a turnip, right? Or whatever the saying is. I don't know. You can't get chlorophyll from sand, silica. You can't, right? So, I don't have it to give away, but it would sound like a big deal if I gave away $100 million, right? But it's not exactly a big deal when you have $10 billion behind it, and you give away $100 million. Like, whoa. It's like me giving $10 to a homeless guy. And the big question is, do I do that? The answer to that question is, yeah, I do. Nobody writes in fucking newspaper articles about it. That's a big difference, right? I miss the days of saying a rising tide lifts all ships and the collabs and tours of each other's fish rooms. It's like the pandemic made everyone isolate and promote only their own interests. I think that I don't think that the pandemic did that necessarily. I don't think that the pandemic did that. Mike says it was probably a tax break too. Yep, at the time they were implementing the wealth tax was at 91%. So if you made over X amount of money, you had to either give it to your workers, you had to invest it into your business, you could do a charitable tax write-off. Yeah, so the top earning percent was being taxed at 91% back then. You can find the chart for that. USA top rates. This is how we can find the chart over the years. Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Reject all cookies. We don't want no cookies, motherfucker. Yeah. So strangely enough, this also coincides with Rockefeller's fever dreams. Wait, can I get it all in there? Okay, there we go. We can look at today's. Let me know if I need to scroll down so we can look at today's. But 1913 and 1915, the regular rate was 1%. The surtax was 6%. The total top rate was 7%. 1916, and then it slowly starts ticking up during what interesting things were happening during these years. Robber barons were taking over the United States, destroying us and leading us to the Great Depression. The Great Depression then led to this weird, crazy tax cut. Strangely enough, right here. Why is that? Then, in order to recover from World War II, we went all the way up to 91% from 1945 to 1963. During the biggest growth period of the United States, we were at 91% for the total the total top rate. The rate earlier than that was at 63%. What's up, dude? Yeah, what's up? I don't need to pick up Olivia, so.
I know.
The daughter's not here. So we're talking shit about a historical look at the marginal income tax rate.
Oh.
See, I can look at this. I can move it around. We have technology.
Whoa.
Technology beams. Look at all these beams moving around. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're talking shit about the Rockefellers and whatnot, as related to. Hold on, let me go back here and let me make sure that my chat is correct. All right, we're going to go with this. We're going to remove that. We don't need that anymore because Vicky's here. So I'm going to talk to you for just a second about this chat. As somebody goes, why was the fallout with Corey? I thought you literally helped him build the co-op. Am I wrong? Which I said, yeah, I did help him build the co-op, blah, blah, blah. And they were wondering about, like, what's the fallout? What's the deal here? And I said, well, let's say that you're in a relationship with somebody for 7-8 years, right? Mm-hmm. And you help them out a whole bunch. Mm-hmm. And then the equivalent thing here would be you send a lawyer to serve you papers that we're no longer in a relationship anymore, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a very weird way to go about that.
Yes.
That would be very weird. Well, that's how it went down with that whole situation.
Correct.
And then I said, well, we made a lot of sacrifices. Like, we moved up here during the pandemic, the worst possible time to try and buy a house ever, all time, right? We lost $25,000 on an escrow deal for one of the houses that we tried to move to. Admittedly, our realtor gave us back a portion of that. When we closed on this house, he gave us his whole commission back, right? Not equivalent to the $25,000, but it was something. And we did a lot to help out that company. We made a lot of sacrifices to do that. And the turnaround was that, yeah, we don't work here anymore. Like, okay. So when somebody acts like that, you just kind of go like, all right, fuck them. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, am I supposed to be super excited about that? Like, oh no, they're great. It's great. Like, no, like, yeah. All right, go fuck yourself too. Then, Yeah. Like, if that's how you're gonna treat me, then all right, then fuck you too. All right. So yeah, which is why I said, a lot of the stuff where, a lot of the stuff just boils down to, like, everything's a business decision or this or that and the other thing. And as Aubrey says, I miss the days of Corey saying a rising tide lifts all ships, and the collabs and tours of each other's fish rooms. It's like the pandemic made everyone isolate and promote only their own interests. Now, I think it might have something to do with the pandemic, but that's like 5% of the 100%, I think, realistically. So if I had anything to say about it, like, it's probably a very minimal part of it. Because I know that there was a lot of apprehension for anybody actually wanting to do tours of each other's fish rooms, of anybody actually wanting to collab together, that kind of stuff from all different directions, not just one person. But a lot of people in this hobby like don't want to collaborate together. A lot of people on YouTube don't want to collaborate together. If they do, it's like, a good example is like if you want to do a collab with Joey, the king of DIY, like he wants you to pay him like $10,000 or something crazy, right? And it all just boils back to like a money situation or whatever, and it's all crazy, and I don't care because, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, I don't know a single person that was on their deathbed that was like, you know what I should have done is I should have gone and made more money, right? At the cost of everything in my life, right? So, it is what it is. You want to go make dinner?
Something.
Okay. We got to go make dinner. It's 5:15. Niner. There's a niner in there.
509er. Hi, Alyssa.
Alyssa says, Vicky.
I say, Alyssa.
That is Vicky. She was at the FinDig this weekend.
I was.
People said Olivia was adorable. And I had to agree. And then also say, yeah, a bit of a terror too.
She's 5.
She's 5. She doesn't know different.
Right.
Yeah. All right.